Alvaro Peralta with MiningIR at the Mining Investment Event of the North, day 2, just hitting lunchtime, and we got Trey Wasser here from Dryden Gold Corp, a privately held company that recently IPO'd with a who's who on his roster. Glad to have you here.
Thanks, Alvaro. Glad to be here. It's a beautiful conference here in a beautiful city, Quebec.
Quebec is looking outstanding, and we got glorious weather. Great turnout.
Yes.
And I want to talk about Dryden a little bit. We've got a property here that has been, for all intents and purposes, overlooked.
Really, the Dryden camp has, given the infrastructure and the history of high-grade mining there, yes, it's been very overlooked. The main part of our property was some patented claims that were owned by Gold Corp for many years, and they just never did any work on it at all, and sold it in 2007. One of the problems with the camp has been it's always been very fragmented, the claim ownership there. And what we've done as a private company in the last 2.5 years is consolidate this land package. So we now have about 60,000 hectares, and we've strategically been state claims, option claims, and purchase claims along a main fault zone, or a deformation zone, if you will, the Manitou-Dinorwic, that's carrying some very high-grade gold.
Yes. I want to talk a little bit about, in those 2.5 years, you did this consolidation and put it together, this package, and it's attracted some really heavy hitters. I want to talk a little bit about that because for retail investors that are looking to stand shoulder to shoulder with people that know what they're doing, when they hear these names, I think their eyes are going to perk up pretty good. So why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Well, as a private company, we raised over the last 2 years approximately $4 million as a private company, with initial investments from Eric Sprott and Adrian Day and a lot of different brokers and bankers that were attracted to the story. Now, we didn't raise anything, and put it in perspective, we then went public early this year, and with a lead order from Rob McEwen and the Europac Gold Fund, Peter Schiff's fund, and Delbrook Capital. And so the story has attracted a lot of very high-profile people, but today our stock's trading around 13.5, 14 cents. Our RTO price, where Rob got in, was 15 cents, and all of the private money was raised at about 10 cents. So we're halfway in between. This is still a very very early stage opportunity for retail investors.
Wow. That's exciting. And in terms of looking at it, there's obviously something that they saw that was of great interest. You talked about at surface. Give the audience a little bit of an idea what the opportunity is that these people are investing in.
Well, this is near surface high-grade gold in a camp that the Trans-Canada Highway runs right through the camp. We have a highway that runs right down to the middle of our camp where we're drilling now. It is a district size. A previous operator in 2011 of 53,000 grams per ton, over a half a meter in the quartz vein there. I mean, so it's extremely high grade, and we've done an initial 4,000 meter drill program where we continue to find not quite that high a grade gold, but certainly, 1 ounce type of gold intercepts and over mineable widths throughout the property.
Before we get back to the drill programs and what's coming up in terms of catalysts over the next year for an early stage exploration company, tell me a little bit about, there's a different team necessary from going from the private into the public sector, into the public domain as a trading company. What does that team look like right now, and what are the plans on that expansion?
Well, we're very lucky, and I mean, we probably won't get a chance to talk about it in this interview, but the similarities geologically to Red Lake and Great Bear, which is only a couple of hours away, are very impressive. And we've been very lucky to hire a team that worked for Gold Corp. Our president and head of our exploration team, Maura Kolb, she ran the exploration team for 5 years for Gold Corp at Red Lake. So she's a structural geologist that really understands these high-grade Archean systems, which can be very tricky. But a lot of experience there. Her number two on her team of, I think she had 90 people working for her under her at Red Lake. Anna Hicken is now our VP of exploration. Both live locally there in the area, so they can actually be on the project.
Boots on the ground.
And boots on the ground and home for dinner.
Right.
So we're that team is doing such a great job of pulling all of the information together, all of the old data. Plus, we've got about 25,000 meters of core that was really under-assayed by the previous operators. So we've got a really brownfields opportunity here where there's been historic mining and about 25,000 meters of drilling in a very confined area here where this high-grade gold is.
And you started this 2.5 years ago. Price of gold must have been around 1,700, if I recall. And now we're flirting with 2,400. So that's boding well for you guys as well. What other expectations can a potential investor have over the next 6 months to a year of catalysts that would be exciting for them?
Well, the opportunity here is there's a lot of optionality, if you will. Our current market cap is about $13-14 million. So it's a very inexpensive way to play alongside of some of the smartest names in the industry with one of the, I think, smartest technical teams, at least in this kind of deposit. The catalyst for us coming up, we've just finished our first drill program, announced those results. We've expanded the footprint from about 200 meters of known mineralization to over 1.5 kilometers, and we'll be following up on those holes. But the exciting part is this relogging program near term this summer, because we've got about 20,000 meters of core we'll be bringing in, reevaluating. And what we found in our drilling, because we sampled the entire length of the holes, is that there is a hanging wall and footwall in the sheared volcanics, it's called, where the previous operator only assayed if it was the quartz vein, looking for this, the obvious gold occurrence. And like Red Lake, a very important part of that mineralization is when you get the sheared volcanics broken up enough to actually also be mineralized with the gold. So that relogging program, we're going to learn a lot more about the structures. We think we're going to be able to expand and start to pull a resource together. And again, in a camp where we have great access and can drill year round.
Yeah, you're in one of the friendliest mining jurisdictions in the world, with a known history of local support. You have government support, federally, provincially, municipally, and you're bringing their livelihood to them, which is always welcome. You managed to, in 2.5 years, at the right time, at the right place, put together not just a land package, but a team as well that supports the next 3 or 4 years of exploration that you're gonna need in order to prove out resource and whatnot.
Right.
It's super exciting, and we're looking forward to hearing about the next steps as you move along.
Yeah, we're excited too, and it's important to note that this camp now, when we started, nobody was paying much attention to it, but we've had some new neighbors come into the camp just since we've gone public. Kenorland Minerals, one of the premier project generators, has just taken a large land position that adjoins us, and then at one of the other explorers and development companies in the camp is Treasury Metals, with a low-grade deposit at the north end of the camp. And Frank Justa's group, Black Wolf, has just announced a merger with them. So we're now getting the camp is also, when you talk about catalyst, the camp is starting to get a lot more attention and be known, I think, for more for the gold discoveries there.
I'm
curious to know, you IPO'd, what's the share structure that exists right now?
Right now, we're at about 90 million shares outstanding. Our largest shareholder would be Alamos Gold, who is actually the optionor from the property, because last year they purchased the junior Manitou Gold, who we had optioned the property from. So Alamos owns about 15% of those shares, and then we probably only about 40% is public float, because I've mentioned some of the other insiders and funds that aren't sellers but long-term holders. And we just recently got our OTCQB listing, so we're now going to be DTC eligible and open up to the U.S. market, which is a very large market. And we're other than this show here, we're starting to put a lot more emphasis now on marketing in the U.S. and we've got a very good online presence and getting the word out about Dryden Gold.
Great. We'll make sure to drive some eyeballs to your ticker. For Dryden Gold, you mentioned 90 million shares. Is that fully diluted?
No, fully diluted, we're probably about 120, because when we did the public offering,
the warrants,
we had a full warrant right now. Those are at 30 cents, so it's quite a bit out of the money right now, and those were 2-year warrants, so they'll run till the end of.
They would be extremely happy, and you would be extremely happy if you went up 30 cents in those 2 years.
We one of our major goals is to raise money with those warrants and not have them expire worthless, to find enough high-grade gold near surface in this exciting new camp so that we raise that money, and investors that come in right now will have a nice gain if we're exercising 30-cent warrants.
Absolutely. Nobody's going to be upset with that at all. Trey Wasser, it's such a pleasure having you here. I hope you're finding some really good conversations here at the conference. Enjoy Quebec City, and we look forward to following your story as we move along.
Okay, thanks, Alvaro.
Real pleasure.
Bye-bye.